We're on.
All right, welcome to another episode of Drop Third Strike with myself, Terry Gant, and my co-host, Beth Davies-Stofka. I'm in Chicago, and Beth is 1 mile above us, all in the city of Denver, Colorado.
Mile high. Hello, everybody. I'm a mile high in the smoke.
Yeah, the only happenings in baseball thus far are we are fully into the playoffs. Round one is probably basically done for everybody. With our predictions that we gave last week, I was just going over our brackets, and our American League bracket got destroyed because the only team we got right was the series we got right was Tampa Bay beating Toronto, and effectively we picked the 1 versus 8, and we were correct, right? And everything else, maybe we were going too much with our hearts.
Yeah, maybe.
But
I was.
For sure, we wanted the White Sox to win, and they did not beat the A's, and I really thought they could. I thought the White Sox would pull it off.
They could have.
I find it to be kind of promising, though, in the case of the White Sox, because they had a really good year. They have, to me, I think Jose Abreu is a candidate for MVP. Yep. I don't think he's going to get nearly enough votes for it, but I think he should be considered for it. Him and Tim Anderson are a fantastic infield combo, but I think the thing with the White Sox really is what they were missing was if this is the playoff format going forward, every team is going to need a hefty third starter, right? The third starter can't be like an almost guy. Yeah. Every team's going to need a hefty third starter because this is what we saw a lot of teams having to figure out that last game is a bullpen game. Are you going to be able to get somebody out there who's going to really eat up innings for you? And I think a lot of teams just weren't ready for a best of 3 series, win or go home kind of situation, and that's kind of what we had.
Okay, let me ask you something about that.
Yep.
The Nationals last year.
Yep.
They won with 3 good starters.
Yep.
That message should have already been clear, it seems to me.
I think that they this year, like the trade deadline came around, right? And you didn't see a lot of teams like straight up like going for more pitching. You didn't see teams really trying to like do it because the price was so high on what everybody was asking for during the COVID season that a lot of teams just kind of were like, you know what, we're making the playoffs anyway. Let's just see how it goes, I think,
Yeah.
And now it's very clear that next year you're going to have bullpen management and you're going to have 3 starters.
Yep.
Because teams with 3 starters are still in it and teams with 2 starters have a problem. And the other issue is, like, let's say the Cubs are going to have a problem. They might have to, like, literally break up their core because they can't have the middle of your order hitting 200 all year long because while they got hot against the White Sox at the end of the season, regular season, they didn't swing a single bat against the Marlins for the playoffs.
Drudgery,
and getting knocked out in the first round of the playoffs, again, just that someone's in trouble,
It's true.
Hate to see it, but this is where we're at.
So the first lesson should have come from the 2019 World Series winning Nationals.
Yeah.
Because they even had 3 really, good between Scherzer and Strasburg, but like Scherzer was, oh my goodness, I have no idea how he was throwing a pitch. He was so hurt. He was so banged up, and that's like the thing you have to plan for is that somebody's going to be better than everybody else, but is maybe going to be broken,
Right.
And you have to have people, they call them horses. I'm not sure I like that, but they have to have people.
Was the third guy Patrick Corbin?
Yep. Third guy was Patrick Corbin. Yeah.
That makes sense.
He helped the team a lot, especially like if Scherzer had been down and it all been on Strasburg with no Corbin, it wouldn't have happened. Right. They would have lost.
Or the problem the Nationals also had, which is Strasburg isn't even there at the end of the season.
Yeah,
right?
That's right.
Like they're often missing Strasburg by the time we get to the end of the season.
That's right.
It doesn't make a difference. Like, you got Scherzer, but you don't have Strasburg, and then we have a problem.
Yep.
And
you had I think Scherzer was having thoracic outlet surgery in between innings.
Probably, right?
To get through
Absolutely.
the playoffs there. But that was kind of awful to see for a long time Scherzer fan. You wanted like peak Scherzer in the World Series, right? Finally got having him at all. But yeah, Strasburg had also been hurt. They never would have made it. They wouldn't have made it past the Cardinals, So that's lesson 1, and then this is lesson 2, and this hopefully will. And we've been talking for months about this becoming the season of the bullpen, but this could mark kind of a welcome turn to the beauty of the starting pitcher, really. So I'm with you there. I'm totally with you there. We did we take Cleveland? Did we take New York? You took Cleveland because you hate New York.
Yes. I took Cleveland because I hate New York.
Yeah.
Yes.
And did I decide to just support you?
You kind of did. That would be true. You sort of did do that.
Count on my loyalty.
I
was thinking. I mean, the Yankees. I can't.
led you down the path.
Huh?
I led you down the path.
Yeah, that's okay. That's okay. I will follow. If it's that. I mean, well, you know, if you have that good a reason, which you did. Yeah, Yankees fans are a bit insufferable. You know what?
They're
I didn't
obnoxious.
tell you last week as far as Yankees
They're just obnoxious. That's all. Yankees fans
yes,
are just freaking obnoxious.
But not yeah, a little. Well, yeah. So what I didn't tell you last week is that, you know, my husband Steve, right? He's from New York.
Yeah.
And so he's native New Yorker, born in Queens.
Yes.
And his father, native New Yorker, born actually, you know, near the Williamsburg Bridge in Manhattan.
Okay.
You know, now we're going way back to the 1920s, the push carts, and that whole immigrant area. You probably find really cool. I mean, I know about it from studying comic books, right? But that's where my father-in-law was from. And so it was him and two brothers. And so each of them chose a New York team. So there was a Dodgers fan, a Giants fan, and a Yankees fan.
Okay.
Now, as it happened, it was my father-in-law who went to the Yankees. I don't know how those three boys figured it out, but nobody could root for the same team. They all had to pick. So my father-in-law, being the middle son, he probably didn't have to pick, you know, last, but he chose the Yankees. And when he died, lifelong Yankees fan, like literally like 82 or 83 years old, and that's how long he'd been a Yankees fan. I felt like there was nobody else to continue the legacy, because his dad had been a Yankees fan too. Nobody before that, because his dad came from Slovakia.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Sure.
So I just felt like, you know, none of the grandkids are into baseball. Steve's not into baseball. His sister's not into baseball. I thought, if I don't root for the Yankees, this will die. Then
there goes the stock Yankees legacy.
Exactly. But a few years ago, I thought, I am not obliged to do this. Why do I think I have to do this? I don't have to do this, so forget it. So I kind of like chucked that sense of responsibility. But the
Yankees are not your Cardinals.
No, not even close. You know, so I kind of have this Yankees legacy that I respect, I suppose, because it's not easy to dislodge it. And when it came down to it, I was watching those games, and the Yankees just were just having way too much fun at Cleveland's expense. And I felt bad for them, but I also thought, I just don't want to see a team in the Major League Baseball playoffs that has Indians on their jersey. I just don't want to see it.
Yeah.
Take them out. That's
therefore okay. you don't want the Braves. You don't want the Indians.
Yeah. You're right. I just don't want those teams. I don't even want them I don't even want them.
We need you guys to move into the 21st century and make some changes before we're openly rooting for you like that.
Even the 20th century would have been nice, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, for now it's really. And then the other advantage that we have of New York winning is that we get to see New York and Tampa Bay play each other.
It's true.
That'll be cool.
This is great. Yes. New York and Tampa Bay get to play, but now, and we also get to see now. We get to see. Well, I'm then picking. It's going to be Houston and Tampa Bay, because I still can't pick New York, which means New York is going to probably beat Tampa Bay. And damn it, I want the Tampa Bay kids to play longer.
Okay, so I'm going to pick Tampa Bay over New York.
Okay, all right. I've already got Tampa Bay over New York because I had Tampa Bay over Cleveland.
Okay, now we got to give our justifications for this, because I did root very emotionally this last week. You know, I totally couldn't even remember my picks because my heart ran away with me. So, so I have to, and this is kind of my heart running away with me again with the Rays, because they're just like these #1 underdogs, and.
Yes.
#1, nobody counts you in.
I love it. No one picked them. I love this. I love underdog teams. Your players. They're the underdog #1 seed. That's hilarious.
So I got to pick that, and when it comes to the Yankees and the Rays hating each other, I'm going to go with the Rays on that every time. Every time, because what are you doing, Yankees, beating up on a team like the Tampa Bay Rays? Really?
And at this point, I think they're not beating up on them. Like, I think that they've probably beaten them a whole lot.
Yep.
Over like historically, but then the Rays, this team of Rays, they don't know that they're not supposed to be there, right? They have no idea. They got they're a Cy Young Award winning pitcher.
Yeah.
You know, they are stacked. So I think they're okay. They're ready.
I think they are too, and I think that they have because they have this. I mean, I don't know. Like, I'm not really clear on the Yankees lineup, so you might have to correct me on this. But I think that the Yankees lineup is unpredictable. Like, somebody produces and then they don't, and then somebody else produces and then they don't.
The problem. Yeah, the problem with the Yankees lineup, honestly, is there's two major components of it that can't stay healthy, and that's Aaron Judge and Giancarlo Stanton. Like really, Judge and Stanton are the problems, right? But that also means that their bench comes into play, and their bench is terrific. You know, like Clint Frazier and these guys, like Luke Voigt wasn't really an everyday player, I think. So it's all these guys who had to step up and come play. Hicks, all these guys had to be there and play every day because major components of your team weren't. And there's all these everybody they call up, Gio Urshela, all these guys who show up to be in that lineup because someone else can't make it in the lineup. They end up producing, So I should love them because I definitely love deep bench teams and scrappy dudes who just show up and they're like, well, no one thought I could be here. I shouldn't be here for another 2 years. Let me go ahead and hit 15 home runs. I love that stuff, but it's New York. So I don't want it.
I don't. Well, okay. So see, I need a really, really strong technical, almost by the numbers reason why the Rays are going to beat the Yankees. I really need that more than just thinking, the Yankees need to lose and the Rays need to beat them.
Yeah.
In the Yankees Red Sox rivalry, I don't care. Both you guys need to lose. Even if I love your players and I love everything, it's just so the rest of us in the country, don't really buy into your rivalry. Leave it alone, right? Leave the rest of us alone anyway. So, but
across the country, I think that by and large, Yankees Red Sox is what they try to sell us. But when your team ain't in it, you don't really care about that.
Right, exactly. And I know that's a big media market and whatnot, but that doesn't justify ramming it up our noses.
Yes. Absolutely.
So let's go Rays. Let's go Rays. Show the world that baseball exists in other markets and is exciting. And that's what I got from watching / listening to Rays games this past week is that there's just this I don't know, I wouldn't say it's exuberance, that overstates it, but they just seem to be having a good time.
Yeah,
they really do. And all this talk about going about your business and whatnot, I think we've already talked about how much I don't like that because actual real world going about your business is drudgery and it's tough and you pay a big price for it. So I want to see people have fun. I just wanted, what is baseball for if not just for having a good time? So I like the Rays for that. So the personality makes me want them to win. But they do have great pitching, and they have confident hitting, and
they're Charlie Morton, Tyler Glasnow, and Blake Snell are three pitchers. That's three guys right there that can get it done.
Yep, and that's how you opened is with saying you need three. Yep. So what do the Yankees have on the mound?
Let's find out. Let me go to those guys.
Because I was surprised they won because I thought their pitching was weak. I thought that was the whole point. I mean, they said that Tanaka really kept it together in all that rain, and he did. I saw several innings of that game, and Tanaka did keep it together in the rain. I just keep expecting him to not be okay, but he always is.
You're expecting a fancy New York Yankees pitcher to break down. Yeah.
Oh, well, actually, he's a really steady, unfancy New York Yankees pitcher.
Yes.
I just keep being amazed at how he doesn't break down because at what point, I mean, he's 70 years old or something, I mean, in baseball body terms,
He was born in 1988.
Yeah. So
he and James Paxton are their oldest pitchers.
Yeah.
James Paxton's injured.
Okay.
Severino's still injured, so their rotation effective is Garrett Cole, Tanaka, and J.A. Happ.
Well,
I'm not the biggest believer in J.A. Happ.
That's pretty good. I just don't think Tanaka's going to have an off day. Cole is not going to have an off day.
No.
Cole wants to win. I mean, he'd be like Scherzer last year. I'll have thoracic outlet surgery in between innings if I have to. He's going to be good. And Tanaka is just so steady. So it comes down to whether J.A. Happ can beat the Rays or not.
And if Davy Garcia pitches out of the bullpen, that's even better for them. Like they have pitching. They have arms.
Okay.
Whether they like it or not, they have arms.
So the Yankees
Zach Britton,
basically really good.
if Zach Britton, they got Adam Ottavino. Yeah, they have dudes who can get things done. Plus, they got to roll this ass Chapman. So
yeah,
who's still freaking pitching.
Yeah, amazingly. Yeah. All right then. So I can't pick. I know who I want. I want the Rays, but they're both really, really good teams.
You want the Rays.
I want the Rays. I just want the Rays.
Yeah.
Just the very word Ray is a great word. So yeah, I'm picking the Rays just out of sentiment and out of preference, but I don't think I can pick that series.
Yeah, I picked the Rays.
Possibilities. Is that why you picked the Rays? Is because you just rather see the Yankees lose?
Well, like I like seeing, like, I know Major League Baseball and the TV networks like to tell us this doesn't work if it's not Yankees Dodgers at the end, right? But yeah. I don't mind it. Like baseball is baseball, right? I want small market teams who play baseball well to beat somebody and get there, and I'll watch that. Right? I won't be one of these people who turns off because it's like not a superstar, not a household name, or not a sexy team at the end of it. I don't care. Like if the team that ends up winning it all, like getting to the World Series, happens to be a team that plays in a city of 80,000, I don't care. Like, you get there. The baseball team isn't every resident; they're just the baseball team that plays there.
Yeah.
But if the only way that America cares is if it can be billed as Yankees Dodgers, that bothers me. Right?
That's
like,
true.
Why did you play this whole season? The whole season was you play the whole season. Somebody's got to beat somebody, and if the goal then means you got to go through New York to get there, then you got to go through New York to get there. I'm all right with that.
Yeah, absolutely.
I want to see, like, back in the day when it was boxing, right? Like Mike Tyson was the most dangerous man on the planet, but you was paying attention when somebody was going to have to beat that guy. Right?
Yeah.
You needed to see that. Like, yeah, okay, they kept lining up cupcakes against them, and that doesn't work out for you. But when it's a contender, then it's like, well, hell, I want to see that thing, right? When no matter what it is, you want to see, like, someone come along to take on the big guy to get to that next level, and the Yankees are that big guy. So I root for the guy going up against the Yankees, because I think, to me, that's just more interesting, right? So that when we get to the World Series, I don't care if the World Series if it ends up being like, I don't know, Houston and San Diego, fantastic. I'll watch the hell out of Houston and San Diego. Yeah. Right? I'll totally watch that. Then that's cool. But if it's the Dodgers, it's the Dodgers. But largely, I root against the Dodgers for the same reason. Because I don't want, like, I don't care about Major League Baseball ratings, right? Like, I don't care about, like, the teams that would make them the most postseason ad money, because I don't work for Major League Baseball. Right?
Yeah. Right.
I want to see the best teams there. Right, and I want to see them grind it out and beat somebody to get there. To me, that's more compelling in any sport.
Any sport.
Any sport.
And a couple of I was just thinking about men's tennis, which I've more or less followed this way or another since like 1974. But I never had a season like I had with the Federer Nadal era. Oh. Sure. Wow, there's just never been, in terms of just elevated competitive in any sport, that was so special.
Yeah.
Why not have that? Why do you have to have like a powerhouse and then I want serious competition, and so that means I want the best teams there, not Yeah.
And when you had Federer and Nadal, when somebody else would come up and like they could be a legit contender or rival for of those two players, you were paying attention because you wanted to see those guys get challenged.
Yeah.
Right?
Like when
if Federer and Nadal got beat, then they got beat. Like, like Novak Djokovic. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And then it became like this three guys,
Mm-hmm.
and then we got, I can't remember who it was that won the US Open, but none of those guys were there. And it was one of the best matches I'd ever seen.
Yep.
Because they were both like, I got to win now.
Yeah.
Those guys aren't here. I got to win now.
I like that. Right. Who knows if you're going to get this chance again?
Yeah, and I don't even care that I don't know.
Nobody realized. Nobody thought Novak Djokovic was going to like get himself disqualified, throwing a little minor temper tantrum, right? Hitting the lady with the ball. Like, okay, buddy, now you get to go home. You know.
I know, it was so shocking.
Man,
I was
your
like,
parking might still be good.
I can't get over that. I forgot.
He was out there so damn quick. It was like, man, your car's still warm, homie. What'd you just do? Shit. Wow. All right. Your racket still smells new. What the hell? Thanks for coming.
Especially because that's actually what he had to do, is he had to leave and go get in his car.
Yeah. He wasn't just told, like, you know, hey man, like, you gotta sit down for 15 minutes. It was, you're out. You're no longer in the tournament. What?
Yeah, if we were worried about selling tickets, that might not have happened, but it was an empty stadium, so oh well.
Right.
You know?
Can you imagine the noise that would have been if there was a stadium full of people when that happened?
I cannot imagine.
Oh my God! Like,
yeah, especially if there were Djokovic fans there from, like, you know, Serbia.
Who flew in? Yeah. Who got the fly in? Look at your boy, just took the court and then eliminated himself. What the hell?
That can't happen in baseball, can it?
I try to think of, like, the most boneheaded things I've seen in baseball, and it comes down to, like, things that players didn't mean to even do. Like, you know, in baseball, when a boneheaded thing happens, it's because, like, an outfielder catches the ball with 2 outs, and he takes the ball and throws it into the stands to a fan, and then somebody on base advances because the outfielder didn't know there were only 2 outs. He thought it was the 3rd out, you know. Yeah. Or, like, I've seen pitchers, like, balk because they lose their concentration on the mound, and the next thing you know, runners are advancing, like that kind of thing. Jose Canseco always gets made fun of because a home run happened because it bounced off of his head and over the wall. Yeah. But, like, that's not really a thing where he, like, you know, he didn't do anything boneheaded. He just didn't make a good outfield play. Yeah. And unfortunately, that happened.
Outfield assist to the other guy.
Yeah. So this year, because the Cubs play the Marlins, the Steve Bartman incident came up, and because it's Cubs Marlins, and we're, like, you know, 20 some odd years or so, almost 20 years removed from that incident. But the boneheaded part of that wasn't the Bartman part. To me, the boneheaded part was Moises Alou, right? Moises Alou reacting as if Steve Bartman had done anything any of the fan wouldn't have done, and as if Steve Bartman actually interfered with the ball to begin with, which he hadn't. So Moises Alou could not have made a play on that ball, but acted like he could. Right. And I find that to be not just it's boneheaded because you couldn't make a play on that ball, but then boneheaded for the Cubs because that wasn't the play that decided the game. They had to play a game the next day, right? There was also an error made right after that by Alex Gonzalez, right? And I'll never forget it because when that happened, I was at a Bulls game. A friend of mine somehow got, like, fancy skybox tickets to a Bulls game, right? Nice. And there we are at the United Center, and the Bulls, I think it was a pretty sucky era, post-Jordan, so, like, it was pretty sucky era for the Bulls. But, like, we were able to go to a Bulls game, and we're, like, watching, and I think we're watching, like, we're watching on the television, right? And it's like, oh man, look at that, the Cubs are on, and we're so happy. We're in the skybox of this Bulls game, and then we're like, what the shit's going on? Wait, what's happening right now? What is Moises Alou? Oh my God, wait, who's that guy? Why is everybody pointing at that dude? But the game kept going on, right? The next thing you know, Alex Gonzalez just let the next ball go right through his legs. Yeah. Which I guess for boneheadedness, there's Bill Buckner's easy play. Yeah. At first base that he blew. Yeah. For the Red Sox. The
Red Sox versus the Mets.
Versus the Mets in 1986. Yep. Buckner let that play go through. And Leon Durham in 84, the same thing happened to him. Yep. Right? The easy ground ball at first base, and he just didn't get down low enough. But, like, those are, like, unfortunate errors that are made as opposed to, like, you just did the dumbest damn thing you could possibly do, right? Like, that kind of stuff happens to everybody. Nobody finishes playing baseball with a fielding percentage of 1,000.
So I saw a blooper couple weeks ago, and it was so hilarious. Okay, so there's a guy with the Marlins, and his last name is Scott. That's all I know. Guy with the Marlins, last name Scott. And because I don't even know the Marlins. Okay, guy with the Marlins, last name Scott. He comes, the team's taking the field, right? And I think he's running first. It doesn't matter, but they're taking the field, and he just falls over. And he hurt his wrist. I don't know if I call that boneheaded or blooper or if there's a difference, but it was great. It was great to see because he took charging out, just fell right over. I guess he tripped on something, and I couldn't see what it was.
I've certainly seen players injure themselves like punching water coolers and shit like that.
Yeah, yeah.
You know?
Have you ever done that?
What's that?
Have you ever done that?
Injured myself punching something?
Yeah, or just punched something?
I have punched many things, and I have sort of injured myself trying to make up for a dumb thing I just did.
Yeah.
That has absolutely happened.
I got very frustrated with an insurance company once, you know, way back in the day, not to worry anybody, way back in the day, Legion of Fan, when I had cancer, like almost 20 years ago. I'm fine. But at the time I wasn't. And I was trying to get the insurance company to cover my short-term disability while I was in the middle of radiation treatment. And they were being really difficult about it. And I was really tired and I just needed to rest. And I lost my temper and I needed to get it out. And I was watching, you know, Buffy and Angel a lot back in those days. And they were always punching walls. And so I went and punched my wall.
Oh, no.
Wow, that hurt. I mean, it hurt. I probably pulled back a bit, which is good because I'm sure that I would have had broken bones, or not broken, but, you know, just slightly weakened, let's say weakened bones. And I was lucky that way. But yeah,
you're already going through cancer treatment more than likely, so your bones probably weren't what they used to be.
Not what they used to be. And I can just say never, ever, ever haul back and punch a wall unless some stage crew have set it up for you so that there's a lot of give before you punch it.
Yeah. That's a thing.
That's the only time I've ever punched anything out of, I mean, when I was a little kid, I'm sure I did, but, you know, I was a little kid. It doesn't count. As an adult, that's the only time I've ever punched anything in anger or in any kind of heightened emotion. And it definitely taught me to never do that.
All right.
So yeah, when the ball players are out there just like punching the Gatorade thing or whatever, I'm just thinking, wow, you have really a lot of adrenaline. You have extremely high pain.
Which is why I said that I didn't like the Pirates, because of Sean Rodriguez when he was a Pirate. When the Cubs were beating them, I don't know what possessed this man to take his frustration out on that Gatorade container. But he just tried to outbox the Gatorade container, and it was just a bad look. I thought they were going to cut that dude immediately after the game, because there's no way in my mind that any professional baseball player would have that reaction to getting your ass beat in a baseball game. Look, you're getting beat, dude. Like, it's not even – I don't like the Yankees, but, like, if the Yankees are beating my team, I'm not like, that's it. I got to find a water cooler. You know? Sorry, Mr. Water Cooler. I got to kick your ass now.
Okay, I'm messing up this guy's name probably because it sounds weird, but Carlos Zambrano?
Yeah. Yeah, he was a knucklehead.
Yeah, so he's a local guy. He definitely had trouble containing himself, let's put it
Absolutely.
that way. Yeah. And it got to the point where he was like the butt of a lot of jokes, right? Because he'd go up to bat and then he'd miss and then he'd try to break the bat over his thigh and it wouldn't break. It
wouldn't break. So the other problem with Carlos Zambrano, and this is the reason.
Thank you.
Zambrano's issue was, I think you said it right the first time. Zambrano's problem really was that I think he was a power pitcher, right? But I think he also wanted to be a power hitter, right? And this was very frustrating to everybody. It's like, bro, you don't need, stop trying to hit home runs at BP. Because he could, right? He's probably the most prolific home run hitter of that era amongst pitchers. But no one shows up to see a pitcher hit a home run. So, like, stop doing that.
Well, at least just stop getting so mad at yourself, you know, and embarrassing your team.
Yes. And, like, his team couldn't really, like, confront him about it because he's a notorious hothead. Yeah. And then you end up having to, like, fight this big monster of a dude because he just can't keep his crap together. And you really need him to keep his crap. You're mad at yourself for a bad at bat, but we still need you to go out there and keep your shit together to pitch. Yeah. That's your actual job.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. So you don't want him batting last in the inning, right?
You don't. You know? I think this is an argument that could have been made for the universal DH way back then. So people like Carlos Zambrano can just concentrate on pitching rather. And I think that it always came down to, like, you're going to end up with a universal DH because for the Major League Baseball Players Association, for the union, That's just more jobs.
Exactly.
Right? That's more jobs for hitters. That's what that is, right? It's just more jobs.
Yep.
If the DH is eliminated, then that's 30 batters that don't have gigs, right? Like, but with the DH, 30 batters get gigs. You know, even if you're bad at it, they're going to look for somebody else to do it. There's 30 kids who get to come up this year from the minor leagues. But if we have no place else for you to play, you get to be a DH. Right? It's a little weird for me to see rookies come up and it's like, well, here's our rookie left fielder who's going to be DHing today and for the near future. And it's like, well, the hell? Why'd you call him up? You called a kid up just to get him at bats. Huh?
Yeah,
okay, well,
give him a job.
It seems odd. Like I don't know that I like that idea, but teams are doing it.
Yeah.
You know, they're having young players, first year, second year players, basically do a lot of DHing, and they're still in the game. But like to me, it's the DH was always in my mind. I picture Harold Baines and Edgar Martinez.
Yeah.
Right. I see professional hitters when I think of DHs, and I think like
David Ortiz.
I think of guys who can actually hit and produce. I don't want a DH hitting 210.
Right. Yeah,
right? Like,
which you see.
210 just
really
means
weird.
you shouldn't. You're not actually helping us.
Yeah.
You know?
So speaking of jobs, what did you think about the strike zone this past week?
Well, if you were an ace pitcher, you loved the strike zone this past week because, man, was it ever in your favor.
Yeah.
Oh, boy. But I thought it's a masterful job that a pitcher does where they can get an umpire to understand that strike zone, that the plate itself is somehow now 6 inches wider on either side.
Yeah, and it's dropping down to like mid-shin. That's okay, yeah. Oh,
you
caught the guy's ankle bone strike.
This really is like this is like we have so many teams in the playoffs now that there are so many good pitchers in the playoffs now. And I'm glad you kind of brought this up in a way. It's like it's a thing where umpires, I think, in the playoffs can be a bit overwhelmed. Yeah. Right? You don't just have to deal with 6 teams with good pitchers. You have to deal with 16 teams with good pitching, and you're trying to let that good pitcher be himself, which means hitters are going to have to pay attention to where they're standing, to where that catcher's set up, because the umpire is not going to be your friend here.
Yeah.
I see a lot of that. I see a lot of umpires not being your friend.
Yeah. I was
frustrated.
I was frustrated because I wanted a higher quality of baseball, which I felt like we were not getting. And I've been so opposed to the whole notion of robo-umps or anything else. I'm not even sure I like it when they put that box up on the screen while I'm watching the game, but they do that, and I kind of got used to that. But now I think maybe Hawkeye would be would be really good. That way,
I want the robo-umps. I want robo-umps because I feel like the inability to get a call right in critical moments matters. Yeah, and if you can't review it, then you're screwed, right? So robo-umps don't bother me. I don't care about the home plate umpire. Like umpires at second base, first base, third base, fine, put an umpire there. But like home plate umpires, the home plate umpire can't actually see the ball go into the glove. So like in my opinion, we can use a robo-ump for that. The problem with the box that I have is the box isn't three-dimensional to the viewer at home.
Yeah.
They don't find a way to give you a camera angle when they're showing you the replay that shows you where the ball came through on an X, Y, and Z axis, right? It's just kind of like the ball happened to be inside this box.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of meaningless. Yeah. Yeah. And now they have the really great technology where they can recreate the trajectory of the pitch in 3D.
Yes.
And you know how they heat it up for what's in the strike zone.
Yes.
That was really fun to watch that. I only saw one instance of them recreating a play at the plate, but it blew my mind. Did you see that? Because I think it was during a Cubs game. I think I remember that white with the blue pinstripes, and maybe Darvish was on the mound, and there was a play at the plate that was really critical. And whichever broadcaster that was, they summoned it from the ground and then made it 3D and circled you through it.
That's cool.
Recreation, but it was so cool. And I'm like, okay, I want to watch that all the time. I remember when they first buried the camera right in front of home plate.
Sure. Yep.
That was just, I couldn't believe it. I never knew baseball could be so cool.
The reason I think the important thing about being able to pull this off in 3 dimensions is that some pitches are out of the strike zone and then they come back into the strike zone.
Exactly.
So showing you that the ball is inside the yellow box is meaningless if to the hitter it appears that ball isn't in the strike zone and then it tails back in or over. Like that part, I think that really is cool. Like, show me that, right?
That is
show
really
me
cool. Yeah.
Show me like when the umpires are expanding that strike zone, right? There is a period at which the ball might actually have come across to that player's view. Like if somebody throws a cutter, to certain-handed hitters, that cutter is going to come across looking absolutely like it's nowhere near the plate, and it's going to drop right where you think you can get to it when it comes across, and you can't get to it.
Yeah.
Right? Here it comes. It's not over the plate. Oh yes, it is. Oh no, it's not.
Yeah.
Right? That like when that happens, like I think that as a fan at home, if you could see where that pitch came across, that would be really cool.
You'd be sitting
and
around.
Sometimes they do it with the trailing lines.
See those pitchers do their things that just don't seem possible, but they figure it out, and then they do it over and over, and they do it when they want to.
Right.
Oh my goodness, yeah, show us that. Yeah, that little box doesn't do anything. And I mean, I just assumed you dumped it and just don't show it, you know. But
yeah. Especially when you get players that are all different heights and sizes, like the little strike zone box, it's supposed to be, it's all relative to their uniform. Right? So like it doesn't matter if you put the little yellow box up there. If I'm 5'8", the yellow box is different for me than if my teammate is 6'8".
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly. Yeah. The yellow box is just this fixture that doesn't need to be there. You know? But yeah, just something to, I mean, I don't really think that umpires should go away. They're a really fun and beautiful part of the game, and they matter, you know.
I want the umpire, there's a lot of, in the last couple of years, I've seen a lot of games in which the umpire made themselves part of the game. And that part, I don't like that. I don't like when it's like, oh, that guy, you know, he just said, you know, that looked outside to me, you know, and now you got to throw the dude out demonstratively. And now you got to argue with, like, you know, whatever manager it is that comes out, you know, National League hothead managers. Yeah. And then now that guy's got to go take a shower, you know. And everybody knows it's coming because no umpire has ever said in the history of baseball, hey, you're right, I'm wrong.
That's right. That's right. And
I changed my mind.
How else would we know these guys' names if they didn't make a spectacle of themselves?
Correct.
But they're not there to play, you know.
Right.
They're there to judge. We don't know line judges' names in tennis. Mostly.
We don't know line judges' names.
No, we know the chair judge, but we don't know any of them.
That's because John McEnroe's busy cursing them out.
That's right, yeah. That's why you know the chair judge. Or they're throwing Djokovic out, telling him to go home. Actually, I don't think the chair judge did that. I think it was the director of the tournament operations or something.
I think so. Like, when that ball hit that lady, like, she was just kind of standing there minding her own business. And even I felt like it's funny because he has the skill to hit that lady with that ball if he wants to, right? And I believe he didn't want to, except he did want to, right? Like, at the same time, both things were happening. Like, I just want to hit someone with a ball. I'm so mad. I'm going to, shit, what did I just do? Like that. That's what I think it was.
I think you're in that. I think you're in Novak's mind, for sure.
What the hell did I just do?
Yeah.
You know? Who called that? You called a lousy, boneheaded. You were wrong. Take this. Crap. I'm out. Hey, you guys, I didn't just do this thing that I just did that.
Yeah. So yeah, well, I was more.
It reminds.
Go ahead.
I have this story that's similar, but it's pro wrestling related. And I've told this story at my store, but like pro wrestling fans, longtime wrestling fans might remember the time in which a tag team called the Harlem Heat it's Stevie Ray and his brother Booker T, and they have a manager who's a white lady named Sherry Martel, and they're going to wrestle. They're cutting a promo because they're going to wrestle Hulk Hogan and somebody else, right? And basically, they're pumping themselves up, and they've got all this stuff to say, and Stevie Ray says a bunch of rah stuff about what he's going to do to this other team, and then Booker T grabs the microphone, and he says, you know, you're dealing with the Harlem Heat, blah, 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 all this big stuff, and they're two big black dudes from Houston, Texas, right? And at some point, the interview is effectively over. But right at the end, Booker T goes, Hulk Hogan, we're coming for you, N-word. And then goes, oh no. Because it was live. There was no way to bleep it out. And everyone's suddenly out of character. Like, oh man, like Booker T's like turning away. Sherry Martel is dying. She's cracking up. Like, they're the bad guys. They're supposed to keep mean faces, right? They couldn't. Because immediately as soon as he said it, Booker T was like, what did I just say that? Did I
And then
just?
what? How many years later did they introduce the 7-second delay after the Timberlake Janet Jackson deal?
Right, suddenly, right now, all of a sudden, we need like a delayed award show or whatever,
Yeah.
right? Wrestlers still talk about how funny that was because it was just like one of those moments of like you think you're just talking to your boys in the parking lot or out in the garage or whatever. You're just at the bar, just talking shit, and the next thing you know, you done dropped an N-bomb on national television in prime time, right? Live. Oh man. So athletes do boneheaded things.
Yeah, they do indeed. Yeah.
See, this is like
the
theme of this episode is athletes do boneheaded things.
Yeah, that's definitely our theme. Yeah, but so do umpires because I was disappointed in the strike zone in a lot of games, and yet at the same time, how many times did a pitcher walk in a run in this past week?
More than once, and like walking in a run is rare.
Exactly.
That's hard to really man. You want to throw a pitch just so somebody can hit the damn thing. You don't want to walk around it. Like at some point, please. Yeah. I'd rather you hit like a 1-run single, so we just get somebody off the bases, right? It'd be probably like a 2-run single, giving away baseball. Working baseball players are fast, so like but you walk in a run, and walking runs to end games.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, oh Lord, don't have that happen.
Yeah, it was. It was the worst thing. I hate seeing it. It's my least favorite play. Period. And there it was. Like, this is something I just wish that. I mean, it's going to happen, but wow. And I think that the Twins were the first to do it.
Yep.
Or the first that I noticed doing it. Just broke my heart.
Probably. Yep.
It broke my heart. What did you?
For as good as the Twins have been this year. They've been too good for that.
Oh, way too good for that. Yeah. I don't know what got in their heads. I don't know what happened.
I think my least favorite play is runners getting caught in rundowns to end innings that were going well.
Oh yeah.
Like boneheaded base running plays, right? Like we've scored a run. Great, look at that. All right. We can probably get another look, man. We're getting hot. Like we just had 3 consecutive hits. What the hell are you doing over there?
Yeah.
Why are you running around between second and third base? Shit. I hate that. Like when that happens, I'm just like, man.
Yeah.
This looks like such a great comeback.
Of course, when they outrun it, it's brilliant.
Yeah, sure.
That's even more rare than walking in a run.
Yeah. Don't run yourself out of an inning.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
Never. So tell me what you thought about the Astros Twins series.
Well, so in one case, I kind of feel like I really thought that Minnesota would just kind of muscle up and outpower them. But I guess what I should have been thinking about was Astros pitching versus Minnesota power. And Minnesota, like, kind of needing to still work through some things. Like, they have young players, they have veteran players. And the writing, I thought about this the other day, like, Josh Donaldson having a meltdown at the end of the season is kind of possibly emblematic of how your season really is going, right?
Yeah.
Like you guys are getting tired. You kind of want to be home. Like, you don't have the focus you used to have. You didn't have 162 games to have your roller coaster up and down. You had 60 games and it was a stressful 60 ass games. And like, now you're kind of like damn it, anything that sets you off can be just bad, right? And I think that's what Donaldson went through. And Donaldson cracking might be a sign of you're not exactly ready. Like if Donaldson cracked, then what were some of these other like kind of less seasoned players like? What were some of these guys going through when this dude who's like a veteran who's been on like 3 or 4 different teams and performing at a high level, when that dude's losing it, usually we'll say we're going to blame it on the manager for not keeping them together.
Yeah.
Right. And sometimes I think that 16 teams made the playoffs, but all 16 teams who made the playoffs might not have really been ready. Some of them might have been ready to go home. You know?
Yeah.
Like they're trying to compete, but
that was it. There's I have a supplemental example to that, which was Jorge Polanco, because that was painful to watch him botch that double play.
Yep.
And that was not Jorge Polanco, he always plays. I've been watching this guy for several years now, and he just plays like this. Every at bat is like that. Every
And Legion of Fan, here's sort of what happened, right? Jorge Polanco is playing at second base. And earlier in the game, he'd already made this same play. He's trying to turn a double play. He needs to get the ball to the shortstop covering second base. And what he does is the ball comes to him. It comes to him like on his right side, but it comes to him on his right side, kind of out. So he's got to turn his body, get the ball out of his glove, and be prepared to throw it right to the shortstop covering. And as he's throwing it to the shortstop covering, what he needs to have happen is he needs to have the ball come kind of behind the runner going to second, so that it leads the shortstop to the bag, so the shortstop can catch the ball, tag the base, get the runner out. The first time this happens, he does it perfectly, right? And it's always an issue when you're trying to not hit the runner with the ball, but you don't hit the runner with the ball by basically throwing to the inside of the runner, right? To give your shortstop a chance to make the play. Because if you throw it to the outside of the runner, you're basically about to throw the damn ball into left field. So you don't want to do that. And you're gonna, if you don't get your body positioned right, in terms of the angle of your arm, this is how this is going to happen. So on the second play, when he gets the ball, he gets the ball. He's got it in his glove. He's transferring it to his throwing hand, his right hand. He pivots the turn, but he doesn't get his body turned all the way, and he sidearms it, and the ball just kind of sails away, right, leading the shortstop off of second base, and runner isn't out, and now we're screwed.
Yeah. Yeah, because that set up the bases. That should have been the final out, if I remember. And instead it set up bases loaded, which then set up the pitching in, walking in, to go ahead run.
That's pretty much it.
It was just awful.
If you're at second base, the only way, if you're the second baseman, the only way you're going to be able to make that play any other way is if the ball comes to you fast and you're deeper, right? And then you can throw the ball kind of, you're on the outside of the runner already, right? You got to throw it kind of across him to get to the shortstop. And the shortstop's going to catch it on the outside, right? With his left hand maybe, and then tag the base. Like you can pull that off, but he wasn't. He was more like almost in the base path himself, right? So he has to still avoid hitting the runner, but he needs to get his body turned enough that he can get enough on that ball to the inside of the runner, and then he's fine. But the first time it happened early in the game, he did it exactly right. And he's probably done this a million times in his life. And in this particular time, the ball just kind of sails a bit off sort of outfield side of the second base bag, and the shortstop doesn't make that play, because a lot of times what you see happen is, even in a lot of sports where a catch and do a thing is required, the receiver of the ball is trying to do both things at the same time, right? And you got to do one before you do the other. You got to catch the ball first.
Yes.
Right? You got to catch the ball first. You can't. He's trying to catch and tag, right? And it's like, now you're caught in between. You can't do that.
Now, was that going to be a double play?
I think it was. I think the next play. So either that was the last out, or he has a shot. If the shortstop catches that ball, he has a shot at the guy running to first. Yeah. And I forget which it was. It might have, if it was the last out, we're good. But if it was also then get the runner at first, then that's a double. Then you're good, right? We got two. But if you don't get that play done, the guy at second is safe, and for sure there was no play at first. Yeah. Right, that guy's safe. So,
yeah, bad news. And Polanco has this beautiful face, with those big droopy deer eyes.
To me, he looks like a kid. He's like an oversized kid.
Just a kid, and he always looks so earnest and so committed and dedicated. I don't know if he is, but it's the look on his face is that he's earnest and very committed and dedicated to the game and to his team and all of this. And he plays real steady, and just the look on his face when he committed that error, it was just everything was written all over his face right then and there.
It's that thing that says, "Here we go." Here we are again, right in the position of not coming through in the playoffs after being good enough to win a division, right? Like being as good as we've been the last couple of years. Here we are again, and you don't ever want teams having to like sort of adjudicate like the last couple of seasons in one moment, right? You don't want that. You want them thinking, you want them in this particular moment right here. This is the only thing that matters. We'll get them in the next moment, right? You need them to like brush all that off. It doesn't matter that you didn't win for 108 freaking years, right? It's okay. You got to win this particular year because it's the only year you're playing.
Right.
Right. Next year's a different year, and last year was last year. You got to play this season, this game right now.
Yeah.
Oh. So you think about it like that.
It made me so sad. And it made me so sad because I follow the Twins so carefully. I really hated to see my 2 AL Central teams, not from Cleveland.
I think that you learned, but see, like we kind of learned something in both cases, right? Like the Twins are probably going to add another veteran presence because next year for sure they're going to need something kind of holding them down. You know what I mean? Like locking it down for them.
Exactly.
For as good as they've been the last couple of years, they are missing something, right? And I think they're missing an extra step of leadership. Yeah. You know, that's what I think. It's that thing. And I didn't look at the free agent list yet, but teams are going to be. It won't be an Anthony Rendon type player out there who moves because with no fans in the stands, no additional revenue coming in, teams didn't make money that they'd hoped to make. So there's going to be veteran players out there who need to be signed who are going to have to sign for reasonable amounts of money who can help a team tremendously. So a lot of teams are going to get some team-friendly deals out of players, right? And I think that that's going to help teams like Minnesota who couldn't afford to pay a Manny Machado or, a Bryce Harper or, Anthony Rendon. Yeah, it's going to be those kind of things. Yeah. Those are the kind of players who are going to be that next tier player who will take a little less to have a home. Yeah. Right. And if they succeed, then they get paid. There's going to be some really good, like 1-year deal with an option type guys out there. Yeah.
And somebody who can tag team with Donaldson so that he's not the only, grounding influence or senior presence or put the team on my shoulders and I'll show you.
And I wonder if that's not the issue there is like they're a young team and it's basically kind of on Donaldson. Like, because I think of like how long Sano's been in the league. It seems like he's been in the league for a while, but he's also one of the young guys.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, this team doesn't have a Joe Mauer anymore. You know what I mean? Right, exactly. They need somebody who can just be like a brick of leadership, right? To just keep everybody aware that effectively, if we can all play 150 games this season, right, we're going to be just fine. If we lose today, we lose today. We give them tomorrow. Yeah. Right.
Last year's catcher played that role, but I can't remember his name, which is really sad because, I should be able to tell you both his name and who he's with right now. And I can't do either.
Oh, who are you thinking?
Last year's Twins catcher.
Oh, last year's. Okay, let's look it up.
Okay, because, I wondered this morning if I'm getting old and this memory thing is just age. And I'm like, uh-oh. Even a year ago, I could have said that guy's such and such, and he was with the Twins for this long, and now he's with so and so, and this is how much it cost. And I'm like, there was this guy.
All right, Twins catcher. Oh, Mitch Garver.
Right now.
Yeah, Mitch Garver. But Alex Avila is there.
Oh, wow.
But I think Mitch Garver was there last year.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Yeah, Mitch Garver just I think he had a down year.
I'm thinking of Jason Castro.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mitch Garver, I think, had a down year this year.
Yeah. He's with who now?
Garver's still a Twin.
Yeah, but what about Jason Castro? Where did he wind up? Arizona, maybe?
Let's find out.
Why do I think that?
I'm navigating MLB's website, which is not exactly good.
No, that's
a terrible site. Like, there's no search box on it. Like, you know what I mean? You got to go back to the main page and do a search. And like, so what I do is I keep bouncing around to like the team pages. When we talk about a team, I open up their team page and then I go to their roster. And even, man, the Diamondbacks roster is hidden.
Oh, it's a big secret, right?
Right, like they don't like everybody's roster page. The link to their roster is right on the top, and for the D-backs, it's not. It's like, what the hell did you guys do, man? What are you trying to do? You hit it over there in the 3 bullet points.
Oh no! Oh my goodness! How did I not know this? He's with the Padres.
Oh, all right.
But he's wearing that doesn't make sense. In this picture on Baseball Reference, he's wearing an Angels cap. Oh. That's probably what I was thinking of, but it says the team is the Padres.
He got around.
That's probably what I was thinking, is that I'd seen him with, because I felt like I'd seen him with kind of a last place team.
Okay.
And okay, so he was never with the Twins. All right, Beth. No, yes, he was. Here he is. Minnesota, 2019, 2018, and 2017. He was with the Twins. Played 110 games in 17, 19 games in 18, and 79 games in 2019. So he must have been playing hurt.
Right.
Yeah, he had a batting average in 2017 when he had the most games of 242, and then he really, really went downhill. So yeah, so in 2020 he started 2020 with TOT. Is that Toronto?
Toronto.
Okay, and then he shifted to the Los Angeles Angels, and then he shifted to the San Diego Padres. So he's had 9 games with the Padres.
Okay.
So he's an insurance guy. But yeah, so
I just looked up the top 25 free agents of 2021.
Oh yeah?
And yeah, so JT Realmuto ain't going nowhere. He's staying in Philadelphia.
That's right.
Right. And Trevor Bauer is absolutely not going to be the grounding influence that the Twins need. He's the opposite of that.
Yeah.
But he's a free agent. Someone can use Trevor Bauer. It will not be the Twins.
Yeah.
I just don't see that. However, George Springer, if he could play next to Byron Buxton,
yep,
that'd be amazing.
Yep. And that's a reunion with Donaldson, isn't it?
Yeah. I don't think so. Was Donaldson ever an Astro? Springer's been an Astro his whole career.
Oh, he has? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
No, I don't think Donaldson was an Astro.
Yeah, I think I know he was an A's, and he was an Athletics, and he was a Blue Jay. Marcus Semien, that won't do anybody any good. Marcell Ozuna is a free agent.
Oh.
DJ LeMahieu is a free agent, which is only going to happen if they're really mad at Polanco. You know. Marcus Stroman as a pitcher, that's good.
That would be great.
Didi Gregorius and Liam Hendricks.
That's amazing. You know, I noticed Donaldson when he was with the A's, and he was only there until 2014, and somehow he stayed on my radar, even though I had no idea what he was doing. I noticed he was in Atlanta for a while, and then he was in Cleveland before that. So, yeah, I wasn't paying any attention.
Masahiro Tanaka is a free agent.
Oh, that would be brilliant. Yeah,
he's 32.
Yeah. I wonder if Tanaka and I want see maybe Tanaka and Maeda could make Berrios be the pitcher he's supposed to be.
This is the thing too, right? Like a 32-year-old pitcher on a free agent contract when nobody's trying to break the bank, but it's because you're 32, you may have to take a little less than you were going to get in this, post-COVID season.
Exactly.
So that's not bad.
Yeah, Target Field is just so pretty. Why not play there?
Yeah.
You got guys like Morneau hanging around the clubhouse.
Jose Quintana.
Yeah.
I think that if I were the Cubs, I'd let Jose Quintana go. It never worked out.
Okay.
We're good. Go ahead and move along. I want them to re-sign Nelson Cruz.
Oh, so do I. So do I. He had to carry way too much.
Nelson Cruz is 40 years old. I want him to keep playing.
I know, but he keeps getting younger, like we said. So, and then Byron Buxton, I think they have to do a better job of taking care of him.
Yes.
That was really disturbing when he got hit in the head by that pitch. I was watching, and so I kind of freaked a little bit. And then they were like, well, he's going to play. I'm thinking, man, well, he's only got some of the symptoms on the concussion protocol. I'm thinking, man. And it's not because, I'm just thinking long-term for the guy, he needs his mental health. And that's hard to, and they still don't have a lot of knowledge about treating that. And they got to put life ahead of winning at some point.
Well, they get to do that now because they're eliminated.
Yeah, exactly.
But I think that, yes, like that's another depth issue, right? So if you lose Byron Buxton, that's a major part of your lineup.
It was a major thing, yeah.
Where is your bench deep enough that you can go 2 games without Byron Buxton? And because it's 3 games and out, you know what I mean? It's a best of 3 series.
Yeah.
You can't go 3 games without a guy because you need to win 2 games,
Yeah.
Teams need to get deeper.
Come on, guys, win 2 games. And then
yeah.
It was kind of fun to see the Yankees make Shane Bieber look human.
How about it? Right? Like, that's hard to do.
I know.
Shane Bieber just destroyed people this year.
Yeah. I did like that. Maybe that's mean because maybe I should be rooting for this guy being so dominant that I have a replacement in my head for Max Scherzer. But on the other hand, it was just, I guess because he's with the Cleveland team, it was just fun to see him be shown up a little bit as human. And I don't know, it might have just been postseason excitement.
I'll give the Yankees credit. You got the Shane Bieber, you did something.
Yeah, exactly.
Because nobody gets the Shane Bieber.
Yeah, exactly.
Which
Yankees are a good team.
which reminds me, we lost Bob Gibson this week.
Yeah, we did. I was
Yeah,
really
and that
shocked.
like pitchers who pitched with an ERA of 1,
Uh-huh.
right? Like,
Yeah.
the hell? Like, people did not want to face this guy. Like,
Yeah.
there was one season Harold Reynolds was talking about this. One season, I think he went 22-9,
Uh-huh.
right? And the shocking part is Bob Gibson was so good. Who the hell? How did he lose 9 games? Like,
Right.
how did he pitch in those games in which he lost the 9 games? His ERA in the games that he'd won was something like 1.20, right, or something in that area. And his ERA in the games he lost was still in the 2s.
Uh-huh.
Right? Like, that's dominant. Like, holy crap, that is hard
I'm
to
gonna
do.
guess the 9 were the ones he didn't finish.
Probably, right? Because man, he had a lot of complete games.
Yeah, a lot of complete games.
Holy crap!
Yeah.
Bob Gibson was so dominant. They changed the mound.
Uh-huh.
They lowered the mound so that Bob Gibson's not basically throwing from up above you.
Exactly. He seemed kind of oddly mad and proud of that.
Yeah.
You know?
Right?
Yeah. It's kind of like this, how dare you? I'm so good. Did you got to take ground out from under me? Really? But
He's so good, they have to change the dimension of every Major League Baseball field.
Yeah.
So he's less good, and he's still dominant.
Bob Gibson, man, I loaded the MLB app after I was already in bed. And that was the headline, that's how I found out that he had died. And I actually woke Steve up, which I never do, not for any reason. And I woke him up. I was like, oh my God. And he was like, what? And I said, Bob Gibson died. And he was actually cool about it. He didn't even mind being woken up to hear that Bob Gibson had died. And he asked me, so did you watch him play? And I'm like, I'm not that old. I mean, really? Yeah.
Right? Were you watching games when you were 4?
Exactly. And I was totally getting how good Bob Gibson was.
Yeah, completely understanding it. Yeah. You knew exactly what you were watching. You were like, Mom, they're going to lower the mound next year. This is some bullshit.
Yeah. But I think,
no one can hit the spike.
I think there was like a Bob Gibson hangover in the era where I did actually start paying attention to baseball, and that was in the 80s. And, you know, it's sort of one of the great pitchers I first saw were guys like Brett Saberhagen,
sure,
Oral Hershiser, and Dwight Gooden.
Yeah.
And, you know, actually the whole Mets pitching staff.
That's around when I started paying attention to baseball as well.
Yeah, that was amazing.
I didn't know that, like, you know, I just thought as a kid growing up, the pitchers just threw the ball and hitters had to hit the ball. But, like, not knowing, like, not being able to differentiate yet, like, who the best at this are, you know what I mean? Yeah. And what makes them so good. You know, I'd heard of Steve Carlton when I was a kid, but I didn't really get to watch Carlton pitch, you know?
Right.
By the time I was really paying attention, the best pitchers, like the Cubs had just gotten Rick Sutcliffe to get to the series. Fergie Jenkins was still playing, right? So, like, Fergie Jenkins was so good, I was absolutely coming home from school and sitting down and watching Fergie Jenkins not get hit by anybody.
Right?
Like that thing. I definitely lived through the Maddox era in Chicago and by extension Atlanta, but like also the Dwight Gooden, like when I listen to like Al Leiter talk about pitching, I remember watching Al Leiter in the World Series.
Yeah.
You know, like I remember like watching that. Al Leiter wasn't dominant, you know what I mean? Al Leiter had the benefit of being on very good teams and being very crafty, but that was the difference between watching pitchers who were like crafty and smart about pitching versus guys who just threw smoke, you know, and that just couldn't be hit, you know, who had like Yu Darvish in his 90 pitches he knows how to throw.
Yu Darvish. I hated to see him lose. You know,
but now I can take him as comics. I won't be distracting him now.
Comics.
Yeah,
honestly,
I can go to his house and take him as comics.
If you don't do that, I'm coming to Chicago and I'm doing it for you.
All right. This week I'm going to ride by his house with a box of comics and put them on his porch.
Excellent. Because we got to hear that story. So we're not even done with the AL yet.
It's true. We've been at this like an hour. All right. What else we got in the AL? Then we got to go to the NL. We'll speed through our NL. I think we just got to do a rest in peace about the White Sox. We did talk about them at the top. We did.
And we did talk about them at the top. And I just want to tell you that I did have my my dance lesson on Thursday, and it was at, if I remember correctly, it was 1 p.m. Mountain Time, 2 p.m. Chicago time, was my dance lesson. So by the time I joined the game, which was on the radio as soon as I left the studio, they were into the second inning. And the first things I heard were, I don't even know who was pitching, but he came out of the game. And then
because it kind of went bullpen game on that,
yep,
that last game. Yeah.
Yeah. So it was the pitcher goes out, then Eloy Jimenez goes out. And I'm like, man, that's it. White Sox are done.
Yeah. Pretty much. But like they fought like crazy for this year that they had. So to me, the season was a success. Right? Yeah. Those kids played. But like, you know, the problem with the White Sox really was not being able to get anything out of guys like Yohan Moncada. Yeah. Which next year with a full season, I think you won't have that problem.
No, they said he had COVID.
He did have COVID, but like he had the effects of COVID the entire season. Yeah. Right? Like it's not just being sick for 2 weeks, it's that how it ravages your body, right? Yeah. Like it did things to him that just made him like not available, really. You know what I mean? Even when he's there, he ain't there. Like it's one of those kind of situations. And he's a major part of this rebuild. Right. You know? Right. So next year you won't have that situation. And I think that like it's the COVID season hit guys like Moncada hard, but also rules changes hit Javi Baez hard, you know, like not being able to have video in-game, do your in-game adjustments. We talked about that before. This is different for a lot of people. Right. You know? Even for us. Yeah. Even for us. Even for us. Yeah. We'd be doing a Zoom baseball podcast no matter what, probably, because we live in 2 different cities. So, exactly. Like, still, but like it was more compelling to do it like under these circumstances, for sure. Yeah, this has been our chance to sample it, find out what it's like, get committed to it, and start to work out what our personality is or our makeup. I think. Right. We're getting there. Absolutely. What days did you pick? Between, wait, say that again. Stroh's A's. Stroh's A's. Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, I'm picking Houston. Who's going to face the Rays? You pick Houston? I'm picking Houston. Okay, so just to be contrary, I'll pick the A's. Okay. And let's do that. But I'm not going to fill in my bracket because I already put the Rays down, which I hope doesn't mean I jinxed them because it's not a done deal. And so I'm not putting anything on that side. I'm just going to circle the A's. And just so I remember next week, because I know that emotionally I will root for the A's. I know that emotionally I will root for the Rays. My only Houston problem is Houston could use a little less smug in their diet. They've got a lot of smug in their diet. Yeah. They can use a little less smug in their diet. Yeah. Why are they so fucking defiant? Like they don't just do the job, man. Go hit. Just go do the job, guys. It's off-putting. And break up the band. You know, take a guy like George Springer, who's a great guy, send him to Minnesota, right? Yeah. We fixed the Twins, Terry. We fixed the Twins. George Springer to the Twins, I think, solves a lot of problems for everybody. It does, yeah. And Carlos Correa sent him to the Cardinals. I don't know if he's up for anything, but sent him to the Cardinals. See, and I think that the band only gets broken up in Houston when the core players become too expensive, which so far they haven't, and they haven't become dickish enough for the team to not want them around. The Houston Astros really kind of pride themselves on this toolishness that they don't need to have. Yeah. So the attitudes won't be the problem. The problem's going to be when they just can't afford it anymore. Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Then Correa and Altuve and all these guys could find new homes. And it'll all be like, I won't say they'll all be welcome in other locker rooms until they hit, right? Yeah. Alex Rodriguez wasn't exactly welcome around baseball until he started hitting again. They were like, oh, we got A-Rod. Yeah, okay. Yeah, right? Y'all hated that dude. Y'all freaking hated that dude, you know? And then suddenly it's like, whoa, look at the ball fly out of here. I wonder why people had a problem with this guy. He's really good at baseball. I can't understand Yankees fans because I cannot understand giving crap to the people who are on your team. I don't understand it. I support your team, people. They play better. Don't you know that? And then the guys on the Yankees are like, no, we really thrive under all this abuse. But what else are they going to say? Really? Right. You thrive under abuse? No. Yeah. No, you thrive in spite of abuse. Yes. And that's uncool. That's uncool. Support your team. All right. So I think we can assume that the Dodgers are going to beat the Brewers. I got to assume that. We can assume that. Brandon Woodruff, can he win the series for the Brewers? No. No, one guy. Absolutely not. I don't see that being a thing. Yeah. I don't know. It just seems like the Dodgers are going to no, the Dodgers already beat the Brewers. Sorry. The Dodgers are going to play San Diego. Right. That's where we're at. We're at Dodgers San Diego. Right.
Yeah.
And that's where I want San Diego. I want San Diego a lot.
Yeah, me too. Well, you know, I love my Padres and I love my Nando. And
my problem is they don't have Clevenger now.
Yep. They don't have Clevenger and they don't have, well, I don't know, maybe Lamet comes back for that series. I don't know. They were saying it's questionable and I don't know what they're going to decide. He was in the stands for the Wild Card.
He was present.
Yep. Yeah, which is good. I mean, at least he's there. He's not off getting surgery. And so that's a good sign. And I hope he can pitch, and I hope he can pitch at full capability. But the Padres are the team that know they can beat the Dodgers.
Right.
I believe also that the Cardinals could have been that team. They just didn't happen to beat the Padres.
Yeah, I think that only getting one game, and when you needed to, and I think that against the Padres, that's tough.
Yeah.
And I think they would have run into a buzzsaw if it were the Dodgers, if you're St. Louis. So I think it's the Padres are built for the Dodgers.
They are. They really are. And I think they're just eager to win. And they're maybe particularly eager to beat the Dodgers. You know that old saying that I've never quite understood about playing with a chip on your shoulder?
Yes.
I don't really understand what that means, but I have a feeling it applies to the Padres. Pretty sure it applies to the Padres.
Does apply.
Yeah.
Absolutely applies to the Padres.
Yeah. So I don't know.
We did much better on this side because Atlanta did beat Cincinnati.
Yeah.
And the only one we got wrong was the Cubs didn't beat Miami.
Which really surprised me.
Yeah.
I only watched, well, did I watch any of those games? I wound up watching the first Atlanta Reds game because it was the first game. And came on at 10 o'clock in the morning my time, and I was in a meeting. I remember marking this in my mind because it was like first time a meeting hasn't ever been deathly dull because I could watch the game while I was in the meeting. Yay for telecommuting, right? And then it was like 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and I'm still watching this game. And and at that point, I think, where's my day gone? I mean, aren't there like 5 games today, and I'm watching a game? Like, what's happening? And and they had the little box up, and it said that Minnesota and Houston were tied at 1. And I'm like, well, that's exciting. I'm going to switch over. And then it went to 2-1. And I'm like, okay, that's not exciting anymore. I don't want to see the Twins lose. So I just kept watching this Atlanta-Cincinnati game, which is worth it. It was pretty incredible how it ended. That was a pretty incredible game.
But Trevor Bauer now gets to sit at home.
Yeah, that he does. Yeah, and tweet.
And tweet. Yes.
Yeah, never a dull moment in Bauer's life. He can tweet. So it's down to Braves Marlins. And I just feel like whatever. The Braves are probably a far stronger team, and I don't want to count the Marlins out because they're there.
Yeah, the Marlins are basically playing like the National League version of the Twins, right? Like they're playing with house money at this point, and I still pick the Atlanta baseball team, right? But if I really wouldn't be surprised if it's Miami, you know, because they've stayed hot. They just have. They stayed effective, you know. But I'm picking Atlanta.
Okay.
Still.
Who's got better pitching?
I think Atlanta has better pitching.
Yeah.
Yeah. In my mind, it's Atlanta with better pitching.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so baseball gods, I've got one thing to say to you. We don't need those tomahawks.
That's true.
Across the uniforms of people.
I'm gonna root for the Atlanta baseball team, but if they lose, it means we don't have to deal with any of that.
You're right. Yeah. And Ronald Acuna Jr., I was watching him. I don't think he is my other boyfriend. I don't know what it is. He seems to play more angry.
Oh, okay.
Whereas
he's not having enough fun for you.
To play more, I dare you.
COVID has kind of stopped him from like being able to kiss Ozzy Albies every inning. So like this is, you know, like COVID really has put a damper on some of like Ronald and Ozzy's fun. So
yeah.
Like,
I would be
there was
angry.
a lot of like man-on-man affection on that team. There's a lot.
I'm missing that. Same with the Padres, right? They are really similar teams, I think. Yeah, they are really similar teams. And the only difference, maybe I miss Clevenger because, I mean, there's a lot of dancing with the Padres, which is like what's really fun. So Clevenger always dancing on the mound. What a strange thing to do, but really cool. There was that guy Kim who was pitching for the Cardinals, who was like out there smiling and laughing. It's like, really? Now there you go. Play baseball by smiling and laughing. I'll take it.
When baseball players turn into the love.
Yeah, turn into the love. Yeah, there you go. Please, yeah. Which is my boyfriend's gift, I think, and talent. He's just he oozes the love. He really does.
Absolutely.
So, yeah. Okay. So I'm not going to pick Braves Marlins because I just don't know.
Okay.
Well, I'll just say that Atlanta team, somebody needs to knock them out, and if it takes the NLCS to do it, okay.
Yep.
But somebody needs to knock them out. I'm going to root for the Padres because that's my heart.
Yep.
Agreed. I think they can beat the Dodgers. Whether they will is another story, but I do think that's going to be an actual series.
Right.
Like, that's going to be competitive. So Rays, Yanks, Dodgers, Padres, those are going to be competitive.
I like that.
Yeah, and I'm looking forward to that.
That's a fantastic Final Four, yeah.
Yeah, that's a fantastic Final Four, yeah. So unless there's more conversation about the Padres. It was so great to see them break out, and I was texting a girlfriend and I was saying, this is it. I mean, what Fernando Tatis Jr. does is what the team does. And I mean, it wasn't until he hit that home run that Manny Machado started hitting, that Will Myers started hitting, that they even seemed to like get tighter on the bags. They seem to get and then Tatis starts doing all these like incredible things as shortstop, and that long body that he has, just catching and trapping everything, and just everything just started to happen all over the field. And the Dodgers are going to have to deal with that because the Dodgers get to play almost military style. They're so stacked, So yeah, if somebody comes in and messes with them, it makes them, all these flashes of color and dancing and carrying on out in their peripheral vision while they're trying to play baseball. That could be pretty cool.
Yep, I'm in for it.
I would just beat the Dodgers by distracting them with my hair and all my jewelry and my bright yellow shoes. I love the Padres uniforms. I would just totally distract the Dodgers. Yeah, I would do my best.
They've probably gone from having the worst uniforms in the league to having one of the best uniforms in the league.
They've gone to the best. Yeah. One of them. Yeah, definitely one of them. Yeah, I love the shiny stuff and
they're compelling.
Yeah.
All right. Have we done a show for this weekend?
I really think we have. Yeah. I think there's been a lot of magic this time around. I'm proud of us. I really
All right, sign us out, Beth.
Okay. Well, on behalf of my friend and baseball fan and co-host Terry Gant in Chicago, this is Beth Davies-Stavka signing off from the Mile High City for another week. This is Dropped Third Strike. Everybody out there have a great baseball week and turn into the love.
See you later, everybody.
See you later. Bye.